Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. It is Tuesday here after work, about almost 8 o'clock, and it's hot, and I just want to get some stuff cut down and cleaned up, in particularly one item that kind of makes it hard for a drawer to function. So that's what we're going to do. Some of these things I feel like are repeat offenders. Some of them I kind of wonder if I haven't showcased before. And the problem is, like, I don't know that it was in a Harbor Freight video. It might have been like mentioning in another video, like socket organization or some example for something. But we're finally going to give them a proper send-off here, so I can just get this stuff torn down and kind of condensed and out of sight, out of mind, if you will. So we're going to jump right in. This is from like months ago to a couple days ago, everything in between. But we will get going with things falling in the background, and this. So this is the item that was like giving me grief. It would fit in the drawer crookedly and it could shut fine, but then I had issues getting stuff under it. So this is something I picked up. It might have been something that I ordered in online. I hate doing online orders with Harbor Freight. I have very, very bad experiences recently with that, but I either snagged this locally or ordered it in online with something else. I can't remember, probably when I had to get the sockets online. But what it is just a little soldering accessory kit. And if you're like, what's a soldering accessory kit? Well, it is pretty basic. The price point is $19.99. The part number is going to be 58088. Or 58008, my apologies. It's from Schneider, and you basically have your flux, a brush, a sponge, and then here you've got sort of your tip cleaning. So on the back side, you'll get kind of a better understanding of it all. It includes 1 ounce of rosin flux paste, ½ an ounce of tip tinner. You've got the flux brush, brass wire cleaner, and then you've got a high temp sponge. I guess that's the big selling point. I don't know, if there's low temp sponges. And you've got an aluminum holder. So coming in, the selling points are cleans and prevents metal oxidation for a strong, long-lasting solder. Lead-free and RoHS compliant tip tinner removes oxidation from soldering tip. Premium nylon flux brush allows smooth and easy application. Heat and slip resistant aluminum holder for the brass wire cleaner. So that's kind of our big selling point there, is the brass wire cleaner. If we come in, something like that ties in really well with these. I don't know if this was from Harbor Freight or not. I've had this thing in eternity. It's kind of like my little poor man soldering stand. Many of you probably have the same thing. It's actually not too bad, like when it's clean, not super dusty. It's got a light. It magnifies everything, as you can see. It's got a place to hold. It's got the clips, the helping hands, if you will. I personally pair it with this little Lisle deal, because you got to keep in mind, like, my workbench is magnetic, right? And so I've got this on one side, that on the other. I've got a lot of spare alligator clips. I can rig up all sorts of crazy stuff, especially like with harnesses. You can sort of hold wires back and hold together what you want soldered. But that little sponge, if you note the dimensions on it, looks like it would tuck in real nicely down here. That's kind of the plan. You could cut it down. Whatever you need to do, you can kind of make happen with it. You can also, I think they might sell pretty fancy Schneider like soldering stuff. I don't have anything too crazy. I probably at some point ought to upgrade the soldering gun, but that's it. And I don't even know if this is worth opening on camera. It's $19.99. We did not pay that for it. It was on some sale or promotion. This is kind of the highlight there, really, is just kind of the brush cleaner. And like I said, sort of building out the electrical box over there. I thought, that'd kind of be cool to keep in the top drawer, have easy access to. And that's what we did. And to save time and fumbling through the phone, that's my chicken scratch up there to let me know $20 is the MSRP at this point in time. So coming in, we'll just kind of stick with a sort of electrical theme, I guess, for this segment. And I feel like I've thrown these in. The problem is, I know this is a repeat offender. I think I may have opened another one of these. But you can frequently catch these on really good buys. As is, you're looking at $12 for the tactical one, and then your little pocket lights, $7.99. You can get those significantly less than that. And I'm not gonna lie, I've mentioned this when we've showcased these in the past. I'm not like some huge flashlight person. I don't go and buy the expensive stuff. I don't order a ton of the cheap ones to find the best one. I don't take time to like identify, oh, you know, these 7 are all from the same manufacturer. As long as you don't want some exotic color, go with this one. And that's not me. Okay, flashlight is just bare utility tool. That's kind of the extent of it. Maybe at some point in time when things slow down, I'll get more into it. I appreciate a great light. However, something like this, truth be told, I don't want to spend over 20 bucks on, ever. You know, it would have to do some pretty amazing stuff like bring in Daisy Duke or Marilyn Monroe. And even then, I'm probably going to be too cheap to spend 20 bucks. It'd have to be on sale or with a 20% coupon. So that aside, I know we've showcased one of these in the past, and I touted leaving it in the packaging because it's articulated, right? You can actually get to it. What I frequently have happen, especially in the fall and the winter when it gets dark, you know, like you leave work and go into the black abyss of the night, sometimes, like if I drop a key or the camera lens comes off or something along those lines, I need a flashlight, right, to track it down. I come out with a magnet and a flashlight and just go to town for, you know, 15-20 minutes. It's things that don't make videos if you're curious. But, this right here, you know, I had a situation once where I dropped it and I was like, you know, this would have been a really bad deal because I didn't have it on. I was just carrying it back and forth. And it was still in the packaging, and I thought, you know, that's pretty smart, you know, with this little pin style one to actually leave it on the card, and then like you throw that in the grass. I don't care if it's the dead of night, you can find that. You know, if it's a black body, good luck. You know, you could have completely brown, yellow grass, and you may spend a long time looking for that deal. So the other reason in part, you like to use your cell phone, dude. A lot of times when I'm out here, it gets really late, and my phone will subsequently also be near death. And I think it's 5%, maybe a little higher. You can't use the flashlight function, which is kind of stupid, but it is what it is. So that's where these come in every once in a while, and they've been on like the $5 deal. I just grabbed them. The one I finally did open, the one that I'd kept in the packaging forever, the corner started to get tattered and kind of nasty. I actually have that one in the kitchen now. And then I think these are great for like glove box, center console, door pocket, toolbox. You know, it's a deal if you get these cheap enough and you lose it on the side of the road, you throw a belt, you know, or you have, you know, something go wrong, you blow a coolant hose off when you're test driving a new build or something. If this gets lost behind, if it gets dropped and it gets shattered, it's not a big deal. You can replace it again for $5 to $10. So that is where these shine. Some selling points. They claim 65 lumens, 145 foot range, 3-hour runtime. I believe she's going to run on AAA, is that correct? Yeah, 2 AA's, again, obviously they're included. Selling points they advertise, ultra high efficiency SMD LED, spring steel clip. Again, for me that's usually in like the jean pocket, and that's how my jeans get torn up, one of many ways. Rigid collar prevents rolling. That is actually a selling point because I have it on steel tables at work and it doesn't seem to drop off and crack. Durable machined aluminum barrel, and that's about it, you know. So it is what it is. That's all it does. It clicks on and it clicks off. The range on this thing is actually pretty good in my opinion. Like I said, I'm not one of the high-end flashlight people, but I do have some, and it's functional, so I'm happy. This sucker right here, I feel like maybe we've showcased another one, but again, it's sort of like the big brother to this one, where that's your pocket light, this is your tactical. And you're like, oh, tactical, that's just some selling point. Yeah, but it also is kind of tactical. You'll see why here in a second. So this is significantly brighter. That's 65 lumen. This is 588. That's a huge jump, obviously. 538 foot range versus 145. Obviously, if we double that, we're at 290. We double that, we're at 580. So this is almost 4 times the distance with this sucker, and obviously significantly brighter. They also claim a 3-hour runtime, possible, you know, in 24 as well. They've got a 3-in-1 setup, and this is where the tactical part comes in. So you've got ultra focused, which is going to be your distance, right? You got standard mode for close-up stuff, and then you've got strobe, and this will basically blind people. Let's say that you and your girlfriend or wife or whatever, you know, are going out to the park and you're going to feed geese in the winter time and, you know, jog because it's a nice night, and you got some like creep coming around your car or something, and you're like, hey, you know, what are you doing? And they don't seem to respond favorably. If you've got this thing on you, you turn it on, and it saves you a lot of paperwork with the police, right? So we'll showcase that in just a second. For your viewing pleasure, it will be on the Omega M, not back into the lens. Right here, it's got a weighted striking heel. Again, do what you want with that. On-off switches up top. Batteries are included. This is not AA like you would think. It's actually 4 AAA. If you pick a couple of these up, you know, if they're on sale, maybe consider the Thunderbolt batteries. For what it's worth, I've had okay luck with those. And again, if you wait till they're on sale, it's kind of a can't go wrong type of a deal. Aluminum construction, just like the other one. There is an adjustable zoom, which is cool, and there's 5-tooth striking edge there. So let's just go ahead. Again, this is obviously SMD LED as well. This would be sort of like your standard mode. I guess this is maybe standard. The other one was ultra focused. And then check this out. Yeah, have fun with that, right? I'll turn it off because I'm sure that's annoying. Right here, you can kind of see the zoom function. You can sort of dial it in. Again, fanciest flashlight I had as a kid. I was probably like a little too young to appreciate it, but I was always like running around on the creek. And it was a Maglite, and it's, you know, standard, you know, police issue affair back in the early to mid 90s. It had like the big, you spin the cap off forever, and then I think it was like what, 3 or 4 C or D batteries, something crazy. You know, that was like a, you could break glass with that thing. It wasn't even, you know, designed to be, you know, tactical in that sense. You just could do it. It's like a baton, a weighted bat, a club, a mallet, a striking device, blunt force trauma inducer, and it was a pretty good flashlight too. So this is prior to LED stuff, keep in mind. This is like, Maglite was the king back then, I'll tell you that much. American made too, as far as I know anyway. But yeah, so super good buys on those in my opinion. Again, wait for a sale, you save even more. This next item, somewhere along the way, I don't know, I think it was a socket set I ran in for, or there were some set of ratcheting wrenches. They were giving these away. Of course, we had to pick one up. I had one of these. The LEDs were totally different. It wasn't the strip, it was like the individual lights. It probably goes back to when I was in high school or college. You know, they used to give these and the voltmeters away, right? And multimeters, I should say. That thing was actually really good. I loved that you could hang it. I love that it was magnetic. This is the exact same thing, just with an upgraded internal. So, case in point, you come in and you've got this side here. You know, a little drop-down light if you're curious what's going on. And then right there. Like I said, you know, you keep that in your glove box or center console, especially since it was free. Okay, or you can get them like dirt cheap if you can't catch it on the freebie. And you just can't go wrong with free. You know, if you hate it, take it back, and I'm sure they'll refund you. So, coming in next, this stuff goes back to my sister's birthday, and got her some party patio lights. You know, the RGB, color-changing, chasing, multifunction ones. And if you were unaware, where I live, it's really, really windy, and so you can't get by with like twine, string, rope. You know, you got to go all in. So it was wire rope, aviation cable, whatever you want to call it. And at the time I was setting everything up, I wasn't quite sure what I was going to wind up doing. Long story short, it's still holding. This is what, August, so almost 4 months now, and I mean, it's doing great. So basically I did turnbuckles on the end so I could draw off the slack and tighten the line, you know, instead of having it like the classic loop-de-doop, you know, from a cruddy install. I've got mine where it's like tight. I keep a little arc in it, you know, just for the decorative effect, but it's almost, you know, perfectly linear. And it goes behind the column, a brick in the middle on the patio. It's super, super nice install, I have to say so myself. But at the time when I was like picking the lights up for her, they were the Harbor Freight ones. They're fine. I don't remember if I ever posted pictures. Maybe I did. But I grabbed a bunch of stuff. I've got the wire rope. I've got some of their butt clamps, right? You know, because you got to double them up on both sides. I've got a whole litany of things. They're over there in the drawer because I wind up, when I went to Ace to get something, wound up just having them cut it. I got some of the PVC coated there. Harbor Freight did not have that. But I went ahead. It's pretty good installation, but what I did is I grabbed these. I needed masonry bits because I thought, you know, I think I'm gonna have to drill into the brick and you know, put an insert in there and, you know, tap into it. So the quarter, I believe, is what we would have had here. Nope. Yeah, 5/32, 3/16, quarter, 5/16, and 3/8. That one is in the bag at work. I guess I had these in there at the time or something, but I was afraid these would suck. I've drilled like 4 holes with them, I can't tell you, but my fear was, you know, they're $5, they're probably junk, so I went ahead and I grabbed the Hercules ones, which $11.99, I'm pretty sure these were on sale as well, but I was confident between the 10 blades, like, we would be fine. If we burn those bits up, break them, snap them, whatever, I can extract them and just hopefully have good luck with these. Plus, it's a deal where, I'm gonna be straight up honest, I don't envision myself drilling into brick very often, right? So I don't do a lot of cinder block, I don't do a lot with brick. It's sort of like metal. And so I wasn't wanting to break the bank on something that's gonna see like rare and infrequent use. So this set right here, kind of nice. 5/16, 3/16, quarter, 5/32, and 3/8. You can kind of see the 5 of them in there. Again, retail price right now would be $11.99. I'm pretty sure we got these less than that, but that's where those originated from and how they tie in. And then I know we've mentioned this set before. This is a classic 6-piece SAE 3/8 drive set, and if you're like, well, you're missing one, you know, what's the deal? You get it on clearance or something? Was $7.99 too expensive? Well, it was on sale when I got it, and it's not because it was missing a piece. That I took to work all the time. On certain sizes of motors, I have to drive in the plugs, and it's always quarter. And if you're like, oh, I should have got a good one, well, hear me out here, because those T-handles, okay? And it's an old T-handle set, Pittsburgh T-handle. It's in like the little metal case, kind of like VHA had, or metal stand, I should say. But the quarter drive is the one that I pulled. I've had it in my bag. I might have even showcased it here once or something when I had the bag at home. But I'm not doing anything critical. Like, I'm not dismantling something, okay? I'm not taking something apart where I could snap the hex key off or a seized fastener. This is kind of a deal for shipping. You've got like brackets bolted up. That's where the Hercules ratchet comes in, and the grade 2 pallets, and then simple things, you know, for shipping. And then obviously I don't want to have that, you know, machined cavity there, and they typically are supposed to include plugs. And so I drive them in, and instead of me using the T-handle, I now have this at my whim. Although I will tell you, the T-handle, pretty sure I can drive anything in faster with the T-handle. And like I said, the T-handle has been around so long, it wears, yes, but it just does not break. It doesn't fail. It does very, very good with that. The rest of the set, I've really never broken one, to be honest with you. You kind of get to a point where you know when something's going to go, when you're pushing the limits and you have to get heat out to kind of, you know, like increase your chances of victory and save yourself a lot of trouble. And as long as you're familiar with that break point, they're not that bad. They're S2 tool steel, so fairly decent, believe it or not, especially at the price point. So those are just kind of here, and I was thinking, you know, like, well, I guess I could like throw them on an 8-inch Ernst rail and like throw them in the bag too, just to have them. Maybe eventually I'll just put them in a box at work if I build that out. But sometime along the line, I think it was when I was like hunting, it was either ratcheting wrenches or impacts. There was a big sale, like a really big sale, and these deals, both of these, this is the bigger set, you know, that was a 7-piece 3/8 drive only. This is the big 9-piece. It's 3/8 and 1/2-inch drive, SAE and metric. Okay, these are typically $14.99. I think I nagged these for like, it was either $7.99 or $9, somewhere in that. It was like sub $10. And given my experience with them, I was like, you know, that wouldn't be too bad of a deal, really. I don't know if this will wind up being a mobile setup. I'm not exactly sure where they're going to pan out. But at that price point, I was like, you know what? I'm going to snag them. We're going to have them ready to go. It'll work well, you know, like in terms of the socket organization and showcase stuff as well. That was another selling point to me. But just so you kind of get a grip on what we've got, this is the metric set here. So in 3/8 drive, obviously you can kind of distinguish these. You've got 3 huge and, you know, 6 smaller. So these are going to be 3/8. These are going to be half. Your 6 3/8 are going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10. And then your metric stuff is going to be 12, 14, and 17. Straight up being honest with you, I don't do much with metric plugs. There's a couple on the top of 5.7 Hemis, okay, when I do cooling system or thermostats with tunes, stuff like that. But big sizes, you know, it's not my deal. I don't mess around enough with it. SAE, oh yeah, you know, that's where I use it at work. It's what I have here. It's on my old Mopars, everything. Drain plugs, pans, industrial equipment. You're still, especially the old stuff, it's all SAE. So these are a really solid buy when you frequently are going to use them. But it's the same setup. You've got these sizes here, 3/8 clearly. You jump up in the body of the size and the hex, and you've got 1/2 inch drive. So 3/8 drive, it's going to mirror what you see in the small set. So this is 5/32 to 3/8. This right here is 5/32, 3/16, 7/32 quarter, which again, that's what's missing because it's at work. 5/16 and 3/8. So literally, if you've got a deal where this is on sale for $9 and this is not, and it's basically $8, buy this because you get these 3 bigger sizes free. Obviously, if you don't need them, that's something to consider, but your 1/2 inch drive, the expansion if you will, 1/2, 9/16, and 5/8. Never know when you're going to need them. Freeze plugs, water block passages, crud people have cobbled together. Sometimes, you know, when you get in old cars and motors and race stuff, you'll have a plug that should have had like something that was quarter drive in it, right? And then somebody at some point in time was probably running a sensor, and it had probably 5/16 or 3/8, you know, was needed, and so they put a bushing in it. And then when some guy that didn't want the sensor there, okay, inevitably needs to cap that, it's not often that they have that size. They've got something big like plumbing, you know, like, you know, literally like plumbing a home type of a deal. So what they do is they put a bushing inside the already placed bushing inside the block passage, and then you cap that. The things that you will encounter are insane. Also, spoiler alert, many times when they don't have a hex plug, which is often, the caps that you're going to run into, especially stuff older, you know, way back in the day, you know, it's going to be square. That's where something like a pliers wrench or cobras or, you know, 12-point sockets will come in handy for you. But these, believe it or not, will actually probably see a good bit of use. I'm always, if I'm tearing something down, right, we have to be smart. We think about it. But like I said, once you break a few bit sockets off, you kind of learn like, hey, you know, this is probably where we're going to stop. Or, you know, hey, you know, maybe I shouldn't put an adapter and run this with a 1/2 inch breaker bar. And, if you're, you know, typical, you know, like WD-40 and let it soak overnight and come back in a couple days and hit it with a hammer and try to twist and you make a little progress and you go back. If you're not making headway there, you either heat it up or you break something. And that's kind of your 2 options. So in my opinion, heat is the lesser of the 2 evils, and it saves you time in the long run. But I think that gets me caught up on this Harbor Freight stuff. So you won't see this for forever because we have tons of Harbor Freight videos, and this is probably 30 something. And right now I think I've released maybe like 18 or 19, and by the time you see this, it's liable to be like a new year in January or February, who knows. But, right now on August 2nd, it's a 95-degree evening in the shop. I also haven't eaten supper, so I should probably head in and do that. But I was bent on getting this done, getting this stuff open, particularly this thing. And now I don't have to sit here and wonder, like, I kind of think I've mentioned this or showcased it, or maybe that was in it. It's just done, and that's the way I want it. So nothing too crazy, but some really good deals. You know, this is over time. It's not like we ran in and grabbed all this yesterday. This is just stuff that accumulates, and when you're in, you know, like you go in for something on sale, maybe the jack stands, right? They put them on, you know, like $35, and you're like, oh, that's a pretty good deal. And you're kind of there, and it's, if this is $7 or $8, you're like, you know, it's not that bad of an option. And you just snag it, and slowly over time it just accumulates. So for my peace of mind and for my cleanliness and organization going on, I can break this stuff down like I want to, but that's mainly the point of this video, really. So if you want to see any of this stuff in use, it'll be automotive. Who knows when we'll use what. The masonry bits, like I said, those are legit until I have to install. I was talking to a girl I think a month or so ago, around July 4th, and she was kind of wanting me to like put the lights up, but then she like never got them, and you know, I'm not a charity, so so you put forth the effort and I will match it on that front for you. But yeah, so anywho, that's about that. We could go into other things, but we won't. And yeah, if you've used this, let me know your thoughts on it. If there's something way better, if parts of this are great and part of it are junk. That's the Schneider soldering station. I realize you can't see it too well. Let me know. Give me your thoughts and opinions on the bit sockets. Do you think like, hey, these are actually good, you know, like I've had them for X years, I've never had issues, or I constantly break this one, it's kind of my fault, or is it the complete opposite where you barely touch something and it's free and these snap off and you go to any other brand in the world and it just works beautifully? Same thing, Masonry bits, if you've used either of these, which one do you like better and why? That's just kind of help people out. But again, $5 versus $12, you might be, I mean, at $5, you kind of have to start to like question, like, what are these bits actually made of? It sort of, I guess, would depend how important what you were doing is, how much you wanted to roll the dice there. But it is what it is. You can always use them elsewhere too. I mean, if it doesn't drill through wood, what good is it, right? Flashlights, like I said, I mean, I am not the flashlight guy. That's not something I'm into, but for me and what I do, these are like more than adequate, and the price point, you can't touch it. So would I love blue ones? Would I like them to be brighter, more fun? Sure. But you know, if that brings the cost up to like $75, I'm gonna go buy a bunch of those instead. So if you have recommendations on good flashlights that you think are reputable, that are actually reasonably priced, feel free to throw them down there. I mean, at some point in time, I probably will, like, you know, wonder what's better than quantum out there, and we might go in that rabbit hole. But right now, totally content with what we've got. I'm more interested in other things at the moment, so that's what I'm going to stick with. But like I said, always open to learn, so let me know what your thoughts are there. And with that said, LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Your thoughts and opinions, leave a comment. If you really like what you see, I encourage you to subscribe. And most importantly, hope you enjoyed, hope you have yourself a great week. And lastly, I hope I catch you back here for more action from the shop.